Hey beautiful people, Ryan Hamer here again. In the next video, this video today we are going to be talking about collection in the next collection commandment. So I believe this is number 4, and one of the most important things that you can do for yourself in any situation, keep your cool. Got to keep your cool, ladies and gentlemen. You got to keep your cool. You got to keep your cool. Reason why, it's so obvious, right? You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. People aren't going to respect you, and they are not going to be apt to work with you if you can't keep your cool. Because then they'll just say that you are being aggressive. Whether you're calling the collection agency, whether you're calling a creditor, an original creditor, or the credit bureaus, if you are calling in screaming and cussing and swearing and all that stuff, it's not going to work well for you. It's not going to bode well for you. So you have to practice the conversation. Go through a call flow. Go through a scenario where you're talking to somebody. Want to have a friend pretend to be the collection agent and have them come at you a certain way. And that way it'll prepare you so that you're not nervous, you're not anxious, and you are actually ready to take the call and you have an idea of what's going to happen. So I will give you a scenario of what's going to happen. You're going to pick up the phone and you're going to remember Ryan Hamer's collection commandments, and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to contact my creditor. I'm going to see whether they're going to be willing to work with me. Let me make a phone call. So you call the collection agency, ring, ring, ring. Hello, good day. My name is Jerry Smith. I saw this item on my collection report today. I have no idea what it is, and I want to talk to somebody about it. Oh, okay. Hold on a moment. I'm just going to transfer you over. They transfer you over. Hi, this is Agent B. Smith, and I'm letting you know that this call is being recorded. Just before we continue, this call is being recorded, and we are in accordance with the Ontario Debt Collections Act, blah, 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 blah. You know, so we adhere to all the regulations and blah, 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 blah. Can I get your name? Whatever, Smith. Can I get your date of birth? Blah, blah, blah. Can I get your phone number? Yada, yada, yada. What's this debt pertaining to? So you get the person up on the phone. They validate your information. And they're going to say, well, I'm seeing on this file here that you owe us $562.72. How are you going to pay today? Whoa, hold on a second. I didn't say I was going to pay. I just simply said that, as I told your colleague, I see this thing on my credit bureau report. I am calling to get some information. Okay, well, sir, you owe $500 and something to Bell Canada. Are you going to pay them? When are you going to pay them? How are you going to pay them? Pay your debt, sir. Pay your debt, sir. Why don't you pay your bills? Oh, okay. I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I can appreciate your frustration. It's the beginning of the day. It's the end of the day. It's lunchtime, so you're probably hungry. But I'm just calling to inquire about this debt. I have no recollection of this debt, and I'm trying to work my way through it. So if you can explain to me, when's the date of the last payment that you have on there? How do I know that you're authorized to collect on this debt? I never received any paperwork or an email or anything of the sort. And so, you got to be cool. You got to be calm. No matter how they try to get at you, no matter how they try to get a rise out of you, you got to keep your cool. Things might not always go your way, especially within the first phone call. There's going to be some pushback. Expect some pushback. Expect it. And as you're navigating through the phone call, you're going to have to figure out, okay, how can I play this? If they got you dead to rights that you potentially owe the debt, I should say, then you can ask some probing questions. What are my options? What are my options here? And they're going to say probably pay the debt in full. They say, well, if you pay the debt today, they're going to give you a time frame. They're going to say, well, if you can pay the debt today, we'll give you blah, 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 blah. We'll let you pay it for 70 cents on the dollar. Or they won't say it like that, but they will say, we'll, instead of paying $100, you can pay us $70 today. if you promise to pay in full, or if you promise to pay that amount. Or they might say, no, you know what, we don't have any wiggle room, you got to pay the full amount of $100. Then if they won't wiggle with you and they're saying that you got to pay X amount, whatever it is, then you can say to them, well, okay, what about X amount? Can you take this? Can you do that? Will you do this? Will you do that? And you always keep your cool in negotiations. You always keep your cool when you're having a conversation with them. But it's a fine line between being firm and respectful to them. Because remember, it's ego, right? You don't want to seem disrespectful to them. And they might feel that you're being disrespectful. It's hard, right? Because if you're disagreeing with them, if you're not agreeable with them. So I recently had a client where I negotiated on their behalf with the particular collection agency, and it started off a little rocky. Yeah, because I was trying to explain on behalf of the client, and they were with me on the phone, and the person on the other end was just, stop interrupting me, da 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 da. And I said, okay. And I let her talk. I let her speak. And then I went into my spiel. And then she interrupted me. And I said, now, wait a minute. It's a two-way street. I respected you and I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And I respected you by allowing you to speak without interruption. You could at least afford and accommodate me the same respect and kind. She said nothing else until the rest of the conversation, until I was done saying what I had to say. Okay, so understand how important keeping your cool is, when being firm, when to be firm. So when you're firm but respectful to the other person, it definitely goes a long way. It shows that you both are willing to work with each other. Sometimes you get people that will get on a phone call with someone and they will just blah, blah, blah. And they just want to hear their own voice. And they just want to be right. It's not a matter of being right. It's about hearing the other person and also being heard and respecting that person has a job to do too. But if they're being downright disrespectful, you can end the call because they have the right to do that for you as well. They can't call you names. They can't put you down. And if you feel as though you're being disrespected, you can just politely excuse yourself from the call and see if you can get assistance from somebody else who might be more helpful. Since all these calls are being recorded, you can remind them of that fact and move on. Now, I once had a collection agent say to me, I once had somebody say to me on the phone, they said, oh, this is not customer service, this is collections. I don't have to be respectful to you. Well, that's okay. Well, you, sir, are not getting your commission. So always make sure that even though they try to get a rise out of you, you don't let them win. You don't let them win because your goal is bigger. You have to keep your eye on the prize because you've got a bigger goal ahead of you. And it's simply a matter of doing the work and taking the steps to move your situation forward. You may eventually get someone who will be agreeable and willing to talk to a manager for you, or they might even be a supervisor, or they may have the power to be able to accommodate you. And in addition to keeping your cool, when you go in, you have to remember what your plan was when you went in there. Don't ever call collections without having a plan in mind, because they're going to ask you, well, what do you want from us? What do you want to do? What are you asking for? What are you thinking? Because you're going to go in there and you're going to say, well, I don't want to pay the debt. I don't think I should have to pay the debt. Okay, that's not good enough. You're calling them back. And in calling them back, you are opening yourself up a little bit, even though you don't directly acknowledge the debt, you are establishing contact, which then opens up the door a little bit because you're giving them the opportunity to contact you again because you're providing them with your updated information, which will be reflected, right? And they're recording the call. But so it's all a matter of how you keep your self together on the call, because some people are easily triggered. So when you're easily triggered, then you know what? It's not my fault. I didn't pay it. It was my wife. It was It was my husband. It was my this. It was my that. And then you've acknowledged the debt. You've admitted the debt. They've gotten the rise out of you that they needed, and that's going to be a problem for you. So remember, keep your cool. Don't be a fool. All right? Keep your cool. Go through the steps with a friend or somebody before you actually call. Because not everybody that works there is your friend. And I said, well, nobody that works there is your friend, but they're not your friend. Okay? So you gotta remember that. And it's their goal to get you to admit that you owe the debt, state that you're gonna pay the debt, receive a payment from you for the debt, an agreement to a statement of facts. All of these things come into play. So remember what the other person at the other end of the phone is trying to do. All right, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully you got some benefit out of it. If you have any questions, concerns, or what have you, please feel free to leave a comment or what have you, or contact me. Also, be sure to download my Collection Commandments PDF form and sign up for my mailing list. That information will eventually appear in the that information will be available. It should be available right about there, or in the description section. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.